Welcome to Lincoln University's video tutorial on how to use Collaborate for your classroom. Continuing the exploration of student engagement features from the previous two videos, let's look at how to conduct a quick poll and create breakout rooms for small group collaboration. So polls are a great way to engage students and keep them interested with opportunities to participate. Start a discussion by asking your participants their opinion on something. Ask questions to see how well they understood what you presented. Or use reflective questions to help with material retention. Participants respond to a poll by selecting one of the responses. Up to 5 responses can be created for everyone to see. Unfortunately, poll questions and responses aren't able to be preloaded like PowerPoints and PDFs are in the Share Files option, but Collaborate engineers are working on this feature for a future release. So to initiate a poll, and you can see I have a little unique screen view here. I have the moderator is going to be the main one on the left-hand side. Then I have two participants. Our two cats, Raven and Bailey, are on the right-hand side. So you can kind of see what the instructor sees and then what the student sees as well. So once again, to start a poll, you're going to click on the polling option. For the multiple choice version, you're going to put your initial question in here and then fill in your answers. Once again, you can get up to 5. And then when you're ready to begin your poll, click on Start. So I'm going to close these panels here just so we can see more of the polling option. So as a student answers a poll, and we'll have Raven answer yes, you can see it's updated on the moderator side. Also in the participants panel, you can see what each student has chosen. Now, some word of caution with that, when you're demonstrating this in the classroom, when you have those big 80-inch touchscreens and you're projecting that up there, the students in class can also see this. So if you want to keep that kind of secret for now, I would recommend having the screen go blank, the front screen, or there's a way you can mute the screen as well on the Extron panel. So up until you decide to close the poll, students can flip-flop. All right, so as soon as you want to lock that poll so students can't be flip-floppers anymore, simply click on Show Responses. It will then show the responses to the students, and they can no longer make any choices. If you want to use the same poll over again and keep it generic, so to say, you can just undo the hide responses and students go back in there and start doing some flip-flopping again. Now, a student may accidentally close the poll, such as Bailey here, and they may say, where'd the poll go? Just look beneath next to the raise hand icon, and then they can view the poll and then make their choices. And it works the same for the instructor. Once the poll is complete, just then end the poll. Yes, no option just provides you the yes or no, so it's a simpler form. And once again, you would just type in your question, or if you have it in a Word document ready to go, you copy and paste it. Now, also keep in mind that students can't move this poll around. So if you were to incorporate a poll into a PowerPoint slide, which is how a lot of people do it, in order to, it may cover it up. Once again, depending on your screen variation size here, and if I were to make the screen bigger, like this one, like mine is over on this left-hand side, less of the PowerPoint slide per se would be covered up. So what students need to do then is simply close it, read the options, reopen the poll, and then they can make their selection. Best way to do that. Now, if you remember in an earlier video, I talked about I would show you what those reports look like for Collaborate, or what they're useful for. So in this case, with the polling question, you don't necessarily need to remember how the students answer the poll. After class is done, you can go into the Collaborate area, click on the 3 dots, and then View Reports. And then this will give you an option to download those poll results. You can see I did this earlier in the week. So you just download the results and you're good to go. Now, to facilitate small group collaboration, you can create breakout groups that are separate from the main room and assign participants to them, or have them randomly assigned. Breakout groups have their own private audio, video, and whiteboard application sharing and chat features. Moderators can use the drag and drop options to move participants in and out of breakout groups. And any collaboration that takes place in a group is independent of the main room as well as the others groups. That also means that what is said or viewed in a breakout room isn't captured in the main recording. Now, the main session recording will continue when using breakout groups until the moderator switches out of the main room, and then it stops. So as soon as the moderator jumps from group to group, that main recording does stop. Also, breakout groups on mobile devices are very limited depending on the device's default browser that is used. Apple devices must use Safari, and that has some limitations compared to Chrome and Android devices. So now, after selecting the breakout group option, the breakout groups panel will default to a random assignment of students in groups. Now, in this case, it just went to a custom assignment. Now, when it talks about a core group set, if you have groups already predetermined inside your Blackboard core shell, Collaborate will know that and pull those people in and then divvy them out per the groups that are already created, which is very handy. But in most cases, I think a lot of people use either a custom assignment or randomly assign it. I'm going to keep it with custom for now. And then what we can do then is we can click and drag our participants into the groups. And because once those students go into their groups, they cannot hear you, whatever directions you need to give before you click on the start button. And ask the students to raise their hand if they have any further questions. If no students have any questions, you click on the start. Now it does take a second or two, but you'll notice that the top one is in group 1, bottom one's in group 2. And then myself as the moderator, I'm still in the main room. So you can tell it's main room here, group 1, 1 participant, group 2, 1 participant. At any time, you can move yourself into that particular group by, in this view, by simply clicking on the, I call it the door icon. So I can go into group 1, it will switch me into group 1. Now, what we can also do is we can pause the groups. So after 2 or 3 minutes, let's say you want to bring everybody back together because you just thought of something, rather than bounce from group to group, I can pause it. You can see that everybody is now back in the main room. They can hear my voice once again. And if there are no further questions after the update, I can just click on resume. It will remember what groups they were in and then send them to those respective groups again. Now, because of the settings we have, once again, within that group itself, they do have access to all the different versions of shared content, except for obviously the breakout group option, but they could run a poll in there, they could do share files, share application screen, blank whiteboard, all that good stuff. What they can't do is record the group though. So just to show a difference here, I'm going to end the groups. We're going to say yes, end my breakout groups. Also notice that as soon as the breakout groups are done, the students then lose ability to use anything in the share content area. In some cases, you may want to allow your students to switch between groups, in which case you just check off this box after you move them to the groups. Provide your directions. Notice that as we're moving here, once again, we can see that the students will once again have full access to the share area, share files area. But if they click on participants panel, you will see that the little door icon appears and they can move from group to group. You need to check off that box over here in order to do that. So what I just did on the moderator side of things, I just went to a different view. So we have the attendees panel view, and I went back to a share files type of view, in which case I can physically move Bailey from group 1 to group 2 if there may be a conflict or something, or since they are bonded sisters, they want to be together all the time, and I can force that update out there. And you'll notice now that Bailey is joining group 2 and group 1 is going to be empty. And another feature moderators can do while they're moving those groups in there is if you have something in the shared content area, such as a PowerPoint you want to use just for group activities, we can go to the share files, or maybe it's a PDF. And then by clicking on these 3 dots, I can share with groups. I can either share with all the groups or just in a particular group. So I'm going to do group 2 in this case. I'm going to close this out, as you can hear maybe possibly Bailey purring on the video here. And when we do that, we also have the options for the students to use the annotations. I'm just going to mark it up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to pause the rooms. And if we resume the rooms again, notice that the PowerPoint is still in there that I provided the students, and the annotation is still there as well. Now, if you do end the room, just I'm going to do right here, I'm going to end the breakout groups. Now, if I decide later on I want to go back into the breakout groups, so that maybe they can pick up where they left off, you can see that that file is no longer being shared. So any work the groups have done have been lost. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that's another reason why you may want to give the students the ability to switch between groups, and we can just push that out as an update, and they won't even notice on their side if I didn't do it the first time, is that so we can move from room to show the group work. Okay. Now what you're probably thinking is, well, what about the students in the classroom? In that case, I would suggest that the students give a 5-minute break and then provide the students either a blank whiteboard or something in the session, and then that way when everybody comes back, they can share their work there. They can just replicate it really quick in the main area, so it's also recorded. So this concludes this tutorial. If you have any additional questions, please contact the Director of Instructional Design at the email address on the screen.